Greetings and welcome back to the Fisher program. I'm so glad you could join us today for this broadcast, because today we're actually going to talk about these satanic beings that pose such a huge threat to humanity's survival. Now, before we talk about the ones that pose a direct threat, we're first going to talk about the origin of these things. All of these entities trace their origins back to these things called progenitors. Now, what is a progenitor, you might ask? Progenitors are human-sized beings comprised entirely of rotten flesh, bone, and with no organs. We do not eat, drink, sleep, show aggression, nor affection. Their sole existence is to wander aimlessly and spread spawn. Spawn is a substance which acts as a seed for the creation of these monstrosities, and is spread into the ground by these progenitors. However, unlike actual seeds, spawn does not need any nutrients or water to survive. It doesn't even need to be in any dirt or soil. Spawn can survive and thrive in a variety of environments. It has been seen in all kinds of locations, from farms, factories, big cities, and even nuclear plants. And now you're probably wondering, how does spawn create life without energy? Well, the answer is simple, my friend. It uses the environment around it and morphs it into these horrific things. A square meter of spawn can potentially create hundreds of these things if left unchecked. So what kills spawn? Does humanity have any way of fighting back? Well, spawn has shown to be immune to diseases like anthrax and cancer. Most forms of conventional weaponry like firearms and bladed weapons, and even nuclear radiation. And as you can see from this map, spawn is capable of surviving in areas like Australia, the Middle East, Siberia, and Alaska, being able to withstand all kinds of extreme climates. So for now, the only way of fighting back is to contain the spread of spawn, until humanity develops a new pesticide that kills the spawn without being toxic to humans and livestock. Now back to the actual progenitors. They come in a couple of flavors. The first is the crawler, which is the one I brought up earlier. The crawler, as the name implies, crawls to move around, because as you can see from this image here, crawlers lack any legs and have an open ribcage with an exposed stomach region. Crawlers produce spawn in the stomach region and spread that spawn into the ground from their open ribcage. The second type is the headless chicken, which, opposite to the crawler, has two long fleshy legs and no arms, no head, but it does still have that open ribcage and stomach region, and is usually around like 4 or 5 feet tall. As you could probably guess at this point, the headless chicken runs around instead of crawling, and drops spawn onto the ground from its ribcage as it runs around. It is much faster and much less predictable than the crawler, but is more vulnerable and easier to deal with. If you do encounter a progenitor, there isn't really anything you should do. Killing it would just release all the spawn into the area, which creates a huge danger to you and your peers, and at that point it is doing its job for it. The best thing you can do is try to contain the progenitor itself. And that's all for today. This broadcast was brought to you by the Fisher program. Thank you for watching, and I deeply hope you join us again on our mission to redeem humanity.